Hi everyone, it's Chrissie and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the last video of 2022. So yes, happy last day of 2022 if you're watching this on the day that it comes out. If you're watching this sometime in the future, happy 2023. I hope you guys are having a great new year and that this year is an amazing one. But for the final video of 2022, I thought it should be a very special one. And this is actually an overview of the first version of my save file. So yes, I'm finally releasing it. I cannot believe I'm finally getting it released and out into the world. And I'm so excited. I'm also very nervous about this because, like I said, I've put a lot of work into this. But yeah, so I have been working on this save file for over 5 years. I started it before I even had my YouTube channel. So some of the builds in my save file actually predate like my channel and anything like that. And especially in San Myshuno City Living, that came out in 2016, and there are a lot of apartments in the save that I want to rebuild, but more about that later. So first off, I think we should start off with showing you guys how you can know that you're playing in my save file. So after you've downloaded the save, I will have like instructions on how to download and install a save file in the Tumblr post that will be linked in the description right at the top. There's also a video that Ocean Sims did where she shows you how to install save files, which I will also leave linked down below. But after you've actually installed the save file, downloaded it and installed it, this is what you're going to do. Okay, so once you've downloaded the save file, installed it and opened up your game, you're going to go to load game, and this is how the save will show up for you. It will say corner save file 1.0, and the little thumbnail will be a picture of my sim self. So what you're going to do is you're going to load into that. Okay, so once you've loaded into the save file, you're going to open up Willow Creek. This little starter home is where my sim self is living. Feel free to evict her and just like use it as a starter lot. It's only worth like 17 or something like that, 1,000 simoleons, so it is a starter that, you know, you can move your sims into. But yeah, so this is what it's going to look like when you open up the save. Now what you're going to do after that is you're going to go to save as, and then you're going to click on create a new save. So you're going to just name it whatever you want to name it, and then you're going to continue playing, you know. Then you're going to go in and, you know, change up sims, add your sims, start playing, whatever you want to do. And what this is going to do is it's going to make sure that you save to the new save that you've created, and you're not like saving over the like base, I say in air quotes, base save file. So whenever you want to start a new save, you can just load up the save, like the version 1.0, load it up, create a new save, and then you're good to go. Otherwise, you're going to have to keep reinstalling the save file, like downloading, reinstalling it, which is just a pain. So that's the easy way of doing that. Now, moving on to the actual overview of the save. So like I said, there are a couple of builds in this save file that I want to redo, mainly apartments, but we'll get to that. So the first version of my save file is basically Willow Creek and Oasis Springs being completely done. So when I say completely done, I literally mean I have either renovated like every single lot, or I've rebuilt every single lot. I've given all of the existing townies, like the Calientes, I've given them all makeovers. I even gave them a couple of pets. The land grabs have gotten makeovers and some pets. And, you know, the roomies have gotten makeovers. They now have a toddler in their household and a dog, which they actually have a story for why they have that little toddler. But basically, I've gone through and I've given every single household in Willow Creek, Oasis Springs, I've given them makeovers. I've kind of moved around their careers if I thought it was necessary. I've given them some new skills and given them lifestyles and likes and dislikes. You know, everything that you can do that we've gotten over the years, I've updated all of them. And I've also gone in and for a couple of them, I've just, like with the BFFs, I've just renovated their house. But for other Sims, like the Goths, the Pancakes, they actually have 2 kids now. And like the Spencer Kim Lewis household, I've given them completely new houses. So yeah, I've gone through, both of these worlds are completely done. So all of the Sims are set up, all of their stories are set up, the lots, everything is, you know, set up the way that I would have wanted it. So that's the first version of my save. The first version is basically, you know, having these 2 base game worlds completely filled, completely fleshed out. I went through, I created a bunch of clubs and everything like that, which I'll show you guys in a second. But what you'll also notice in my first version is a couple of the other worlds. I think basically every other world has at least 1 build done in it. But a couple of them, like New Chris for example, is partly finished. So I have 4 lots left open that I still have to do. And these lots, as well as other lots in the world, you'll notice that even though they're empty lots, they do have families in them. So they do have families. The families don't necessarily have like any descriptions to them or anything like that yet, but they do tie in to other families in my save file. So I do have families like, for example, this Jensen household, like Dwayne Jensen down here. He is actually related to Catherine Jensen from the Jensen Hale household in Willow Creek. He's actually her son. And he's also Naomi Jensen Hale's brother. So I wanted to, you know, even though my main focus was Willow Creek and Oasis Springs, I wanted to make sure that all of the other like familial ties and stuff like that was already set up in my save file. So, you know, if they have family in other worlds, I have them set up. If they have, you know, friends in other worlds, I have those relationships set up, and, you know, romantic interests, everything like that. So that's why there are a couple of lots in the other worlds that, you know, either have families. Like this is just an EA lot, this house where the Dreamer family lives. That lot is, like I said, just an EA build, so I haven't renovated it or anything like that. I've just moved the family into it. Same thing with, I think, yeah, so Forgotten Hollow, for example. We have that base game, not base game, but like, I say base game, but I mean like EA base game, so like EA house on that lot. But I have the Valentine family living there, which I created, and which obviously they don't fit with that house because it's a small house. They're a very big family, and, you know, obviously I will be building them a proper house. Same thing with the Dawn family. They, you know, obviously empty lot. Same thing with the Stroud family. I actually went through, and Vlad, which you all know, we all know and hate Vlad. We love to hate Vlad. But Vlad actually has a wife, a sister, and 3 kids. So yeah, I did change up a couple of things for my save file. So you will have to go through and take a look at everything. Like I said, I'm not going to give you guys a tour of absolutely everything. But yeah, we still have the Bailey Moon household. We still have Judith Ward in Del Sol Valley. I gave her 2 dogs and a really, really nice mansion, by the way. And yeah, like I said, I changed up a couple of things, a couple of like lots that I would have considered kind of pointless, like Ward Park, for example, in Del Sol Valley. I turned that into a very fancy upscale restaurant. And there are a couple of lots, you know, like I said, that I haven't gotten to, but I've gone through a lot of the worlds and did stuff here and there. So like, you know, these 3 lots are done in Glimmerbrook, these 2 are not. You know, stuff like that. So that's my big thing, is I tend to hop around a lot and like build in every world at the same time rather than just focusing on one, because otherwise I would get bored. So yeah, you'll notice that a lot of the other worlds have Sims in houses that probably doesn't match them, or they have Sims in empty lots, or, you know, a couple of the community lots especially haven't been redone yet. In worlds like San Myshuno, for example, I have basically, I think, every single apartment. I have every single apartment in San Myshuno done. This apartment, this 3-story apartment, the 8 Spires one, I'm actually in the process of rebuilding that, but that will be added to the save file in like an update down the road. Now, for example, like recently, like I said, I've been going through and rebuilding a couple of my older builds, like the Underwood family. So this family is, I think, one of the first families that I added to my save. So I think this was way back in like 2017 or something. And I built them an apartment, and the other day I was going through and I had a look at it, and I really didn't like the way it looked. So I actually went through the other day, a couple of weeks ago at this point, and I did a brand new video where I basically redid their entire apartment. That video is up on the channel if you want to go ahead, check it out. And obviously, you know, the save file has their new apartment in it now, but as I go through and renovate some of these, and you know, some of them, like I said, I did before I even had my channel, so there aren't any speed builds of them. So I would love to actually make speed builds of all of them if I end up renovating them. But yeah, so I think all of the apartments are actually completely done. There's just a couple of like penthouse lots. So I think all of the penthouse lots, yeah, like this one is where I have a bunch of roommates living. I actually moved Diego. I moved him to this penthouse lot out of, I think he used to live in that apartment, which now has a family in it. So I moved him to that penthouse. And then this penthouse is a lounge and a restaurant, which again, I built years and years ago. And truth be told, at this point, I kind of really hate this. Like, I don't think it fits with the vibe of the neighborhood or the building or anything like that. So I really want to go in and rebuild that. But again, that is something for future Chrissie to worry about and to actually do. So those kinds of things are stuff that you'll see in upcoming updates for the save file. You know, when I release like version 2, I'll have, you know, maybe focused on other lots or other worlds. So Brindleton Bay, for example, most of this downtown area or like Wiskerman's Wharf area is done. I just have to redo the lounge, or like do the lounge. I haven't done it yet. And then Sable Square, everything here is done apart from this household. They still obviously need a house. So yeah, I still have to do that. I still have that little starter home is one that I built, which it's not really a starter. It's kind of like a starter if you start off with like, I think 3 or 4 Sims or something, but it's a cheaper house. And then obviously I have to do all of the other stuff in that area. Strangerville, same thing. I have all of these lots, or like 3 of those lots up there done. I have an empty lot over there with the family. I have the Eclectic Arts household that I'm not sure if I want to move them or like evict them and move in one of my own Sims or own families or whatever, but I'll work on that at some point. Most of the downtown area of Strangerville is done. I just have to redo or like do the library, which I haven't done. But I actually added a gym in Strangerville. I completely rebuilt the bar. I added a gym. I have a little like house for the Sigworths. We have a little starter trailer, and then obviously George's like plane crash build I completely redid. And you guys will notice that if you go through the save file and have a look at everything, that there are a couple of families from The Sims 2 that I recreated for my save. So the Smith family, for example, they used to live in Strangetown in The Sims 2. I recreated them and moved them into Strangerville because I thought that would fit. So same thing with the Dreamers that you guys saw in Windenburg, for example. Darren and Dirk Dreamer, I recreated both of them. I kind of changed up their ages a little bit. So everyone that were teenagers in The Sims 2, I aged up into young adults. Just because the Sims team already created Lilith and Angela Pleasant, and I can show you guys, yeah, in Brightchester, the Sims team already created Lilith and Angela Pleasant. I did go through and give them complete makeovers because, to be fair, no shade to the Sims team, but the original ones were just not it, so I gave them makeovers. And I still have to rebuild their townhouse, but I did the one next to them. But because Lilith and Angela were young adults in The Sims 4, I kind of figured that I would age up Dirk. I would age him up to a young adult. I aged up Johnny from the Smith household in Strangerville as well. And then I also went in and I recreated the Broke family. So the Broke family from Sims 2 Pleasant View, I created Dustin, who's now a young adult, his mother Brandy, and then Bo, who's his younger brother. And they're actually living in the bar. I need to fix that. They're not supposed to be living there because I haven't rebuilt the lot, so it's not technically meant to be a residential. I'll need to fix that. They'll be living in this little trailer or like shipping container, and that will be a bar in the version that you guys download. I just need to remember to do that. But yeah, so in Evergreen Harbor, for example, we have a new family up there, which obviously they don't have a proper house. We have the Owen household, which I did do their house on the channel because they're again connected to one of the families in Willow Creek. We have all of the apartments done in Evergreen Harbor. So this apartment building, the Pinecrest Apartments, it has one family living in the smaller apartment, and then the one next to it is actually a starter apartment. Same thing with this side. We have one sim living in an apartment, and then the other one is a starter apartment. So your sims can just move in and you can make it your own. And yeah, we have another little starter lot on that corner. And then the community spaces in Evergreen Harbor are a little bit more tricky. So for this one, the Sprucewood one, I've renovated or like rebuilt 2 out of the 4 community spaces lots that you can. So I have them set up in my save. They're also up on my gallery if you want to just download them. But I am working on the other ones for that. Moonwood Mill, which is one of our newer worlds, I only have 2 houses done yet. I have this foster home done, and then the farm that I did videos on. We also have another wolf pack that basically they don't have a house yet, but they're the other wolf pack that I created for my save. And this is where it gets a little bit confusing, and I can probably make a whole other video just talking about the paranormal or like the supernatural sims in my save file, because I went so overboard with the lore for these sims, and none of this is like Sims canon, by the way. It's just like the lore and the stories and the reasons for stuff that I came up with when I was creating those sims. I can probably make a whole other video just talking about the supernatural sims. Let me know if that's something that you would like to see, by the way, or if you would like to see me do a tutorial video on how to install save files, how to install mods or CC as well. All of that stuff, let me know. But yeah, I'm not going to go too in depth about that because this is about the first version, which is focused around Willow Creek and Oasis Springs. I need to remember that. But yeah, with all of the families on like the empty lots, feel free to evict them and move your own families into their lots or build something on their lots, or you know, whatever you want to do. There's literally hundreds, and I do mean hundreds. I mean, I'm just scrolling through some of them right now, and there are literally hundreds of sims in the save file. And I haven't even added everyone that I want to add. So yeah, there's a lot. I mean, you'll also notice that some of the households are called like uni students, and then in their little description I just put student at Foxbury Institute studying drama. And the reason I did this is because I actually went in with the sims, like the university students that I created, for lots like, you know, the Foxbury student housing in Newcrest, or the student dorms that I built in Windenburg for Brightchester. And obviously I went in and I created these students. I put them in the dorms and I gave them obviously their majors and stuff like that. Same thing with some of the dorms in Brightchester. So I've rebuilt both of the dorm buildings in Brightchester for Brightchester University, and both of the ones for Foxbury Institute as well. And basically I've just gone through and played a little bit with each of those households, and whatever like townie students the game generated for me, because obviously the game will fill like the free spaces in a dorm with random Sims, I kind of just went through and I gave them makeovers just to make sure that they looked kind of okay. And then I just renamed them so that you guys could see like, okay, this is a university student or this is a professor. These Sims, like the ones that say like NPC, for example, these Sims actually all work in a restaurant in Copperdale that I have one of my families owning. So I actually pulled these Sims from the gallery and have them working in that restaurant. And these Sims are actually created by Sims on the Rope. They're actually part of a couple of their like townie uploads that they've done, and I've kind of just pulled them from the gallery, mixed together a couple of those Sims, and I'm using them as the employees for that restaurant. Also, these Sims, like a couple of the university students as well, they're also from Sims on the Rope, and in all of their descriptions I did give credit to like tell you guys that they've been created by Sims on the Rope for everyone that was. Some of them are just obviously, you know, game townies that the game just generated, and you know, if they've been created by someone else, mostly just I've only used Sims from Sims on the Rope. If they've been created by them, I have given like credit in their descriptions. But yeah, so that's basically I think all of like the nitty-gritty stuff, like the overall arching things that I wanted to talk about. So let's jump into one of these households so that I can show you guys a couple of the clubs that I set up. Okay, so here we are in the Jensen Hale household. This is just the household that I loaded up because they have a lot of clubs that I can show you guys. But yeah, so this is their house. I did do a speed build of this house on the channel. It's linked in the Willow Creek rebuild playlist, but it's an absolutely gigantic house. But yeah, so this is what I meant for the clubs. So I have a lot of different clubs set up. Now, some of the Sims are in clubs, not all of them, some of them are, but yes, there are a bunch of different clubs, a bunch of different teen clubs. I also set up things like the Willow Actors. So basically, the Willow Actors is a club that I created to go with the little like after school activities that your Sims can do. So for example, if I have a child Sim being in the like drama after school activity, I've added them into the Willow Actors Club. So all of these Sims are Sims that live in Willow Creek, or they're Sims that live in Newcrest. I've kind of tried to group them together a little bit. So I'm just going to show you guys if I open up the little club thing. So we have a bunch of clubs in here, as you can see. But we also have the Myshuno Scouts, the Oasis Scouts, and these clubs, the Scouts ones, they're basically for the Scouts after school activities. And again, I've kind of grouped them sort of by world, and I've kind of grouped together worlds that I thought might be close together or stuff like that. So like Willow Creek and Newcrest, for example. But we also have the Oasis. Where are the Oasis Actors? Are they even, do I even have a club for Oasis Springs? For like the acting after school activity thing. I should have, but we have the Myshuno Actors one, same thing with that. But yeah, we have a bunch of different clubs. And I've also created clubs, for example, like the Wolven Club, which is basically a teenagers club for teenage werewolves, if my game would ever actually load. Yeah, so see, it's a club full of just werewolves, and they're all teenagers. We also have the Little Wolven, which is basically same thing, werewolf kids. Same thing for vampires, spellcasters, like the little bats are all like vampire kids. But we also have a couple of other kid clubs like the League of Adventurers, the Little Geniuses, you know, stuff like that. I've tried to use the club system as much as possible because I love the club system so much. It's so useful. But we also have the Socialites. We have one for like kind of like adult and young adult female Sims. We have the same, like, kind of equivalent club for adult and young adult male Sims. And we also have the same one for, like, older Sims. So these Sims are all, like, either elders or they're, like, adults, like, closer to being adult, like, they're older, basically. The other one is basically more for, like, young adults. But, yeah, so we have stuff like that. I also set up quite a few... What am I doing? I did not want to open the club details. But I also set up, like I said, quite a few different teenage clubs. So we have the Basketball Jocks, which is basically like the high school's basketball team. We have Brushes and Paints, which is Copperdale High's art club. We have the Cheerleaders, which is self-explanatory. We have Football Jocks. We have... Where's the other... I know there's a bunch of, like, teenage clubs in here. The Nightwalkers. The Nightwalkers is the teenage... Basically, like, teenage vampires. And I totally got that name from the originals. If you guys know, you know. But, yeah, I totally got that name from there. But we have the Rebels. We have the Seahawks, which is their Copperdale High's swim team. We have, you know, Spellcasters, High Council, Gifted are the little spellcaster kids. We have the Brats as well, which, if you guys have ever seen Mean Girls, this is kind of like the plastics of The Sims. We have the Nerd Herd, which, again, like, it's kind of like a study group for teenagers, for like the high school. But the Nerd Herd is a name that I got out of the House of Night books, which I love those books. Silver Spoons are for, you know, the very, very rich teenagers. So a lot of the Sims in my save file are rich. I'm not going to deny that, just because a lot of the houses that I build are very expensive. So obviously the Sims will be counted as being very rich if they live in them. But this club is kind of more for Sims that not only have money, but they're also part of, like, a very well-known family. So we have Xavier Roth, who's kind of like the Oasis Springs version of the Goth family. We also have, obviously, Cassandra Goth. We have Malcolm Landgrab. We have Gabriel Court, who's actually one of the Sims that live in San Myshuno. His family is like big politicians, very rich. And then we have Josie Batchelor, who's actually Michael Batchelor. And I kind of want to tell you guys about that, but she's actually Michael Batchelor, who's Bella Goth's brother. She's his daughter. And then we also have Molly Prescott, who's one of the townie Sims from Copperdale, who's actually part of, like, the old founding family of Copperdale, stuff like that. But yeah, so those are all of the clubs. But something else related to the clubs, you know, speaking of it, I wanted to mention the fact that you guys can see I'm using a bunch of different icons. Now, like, I don't think any of these icons are actually like the default game icons for clubs. Maybe a couple of them, maybe like the Rebels one, the Powerhouse one, but most of these icons are actually custom. And they're part of the More Selectable Icons mod by Zerbu. And these icons can actually be used for so many things. That mod, the More Selectable Icons mod, it not only adds icons to clubs for, like, club icons, it also adds a bunch of icons for holidays. So let me see, you know, it takes a couple of seconds for the game to pull it up, because it adds over 1,000 new icons. And these icons you can also use for holidays. There are so many icons in here. I've never even had time to, like, go through and look at every single one, because as you can see, I'm scrolling right now, and look how slowly this little wheel is moving. There's an icon in here for literally every single scenario that you could possibly think of. And those icons can also be used for lifestyle brands. If your Sims are actually like a celebrity and they have like a lifestyle brand, you can use those icons for that. You can use the icons for SimTuber avatars. If your Sims are, you know, in the social media, or like Simfluencers, they can use those icons for avatars. And the other mod that's kind of like recommended and kind of needed if you want to download and play with my save file the way I have it set up, is another one by Zerbu. It's the Venue Changes mod. And I will have both of these mods. They're all linked in the Tumblr post in the description. Definitely go ahead, check it out. But basically that mod, the Venue Changes one, allows you to have club gatherings on the high school lot. So I don't know if you guys can really see it because of my reshade. But basically, originally you can't have club hangouts be on this like high school lot or the auditorium lot. It's just not possible. But with that mod you can. So I really needed that mod to make it so that, you know, the basketball jocks will have their club hangout at the high school, because obviously they'll spend time at the high school. Same thing with the art club and the cheerleaders and like the study club and stuff like that, because it just makes sense. It makes sense that those clubs would meet at the high school because they're all high school like teams and club related. So that mod is kind of essential, the Venue Changes one by Zerbu, and it has so many other functions as well. I would definitely recommend go through, read through it. It's not a complicated mod. If you download it, install it, you don't have to do anything. That's a good thing. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to use it. But it's just kind of necessary for like the way I have my clubs set up. The icons that, you know, I have all of like the custom icons. If you don't have that mod, if you don't want to install that mod, then, you know, you don't have to install it. You can just download the save, play in it as it is, and these little icons will just be blank. So if that doesn't bother you, or if you want to go through and manually like reselect icons for all of the clubs yourself with just like the in-game icons, then feel free to do that as well. I'm not going to stop you. But originally I did try originally to just use the in-game icons, but honestly I don't even know how many clubs. Like I think I have like 30 or something like that different clubs, and the game just doesn't have enough icons to make them unique and make them so that I actually like looking at them. So yeah, that's why I just decided to download those two mods. Another mod that I would highly recommend, but it's not necessary, is the MC Command Center mod, which I know that mod is one that a lot of people are very hesitant to install and play with because it can mess up your game if you don't know what you're doing. So it's not necessary, but it has a ton of different features and stuff that I used a lot when I was setting up everything for my save file, but you don't need to have it if you want to play with the save. The only two things that I really think you should download is the Venue Changes and the More Selectable Icons. And they're both really small mods, and yeah, they just add a lot to gameplay and add a lot of customization as well. So yeah, that's basically everything I think I had to tell you guys about that. So I think we're going to go into a couple of fun cinematic shots whilst I just talk more, because I have a couple of different things left to say that I don't think I've covered. So yeah, I know this video is already like super long, and I'm really sorry about that, but you know me, if I ever do an overview or something, it's guaranteed to be long just because I talk a lot. So yeah, that was my overview of the first version of my save file. Like I said, I didn't go through every single household. I didn't show you guys every single household. I could have probably done that, and it would have probably been better if I just took you guys through a little bit more of Willow Creek and Oasis Springs. But truthfully, I kind of want you guys to go through and experience more of these families. I panned over a couple of them, and I obviously showed you guys the maps, and in these little like cinematic shots you'll obviously be seeing, you know, a lot of the neighborhoods and stuff like that I've done for Willow Creek and Oasis Springs. But the Sims and their backstories and stuff, they're all kind of things that I want you guys to experience and kind of look at for yourselves, and you know, stuff like that. I do have a Google document that I'll leave linked in the description of where I'm kind of like keeping track of all of the Sims' stories. So those little like description stories, if you click on them from map view, those little descriptions of a family, I have a document filled with all of those for each Sim. Now, it's still a work in progress document. It's not done yet. I have all of Willow Creek and Oasis Springs in there. I have a couple of Sims from Newcrest in there, but I'm still adding to it. So it's kind of like a behind the scenes little thing if you guys want to go onto it. And like I said, I'm still adding to it and changing it up and stuff like that. But if you don't want to go into the game and manually read every single Sim's description, or family's description, I should say, then check out that document. It's, you know, easily all in one place if you'd prefer to do that. But yeah, definitely check out the Tumblr post for the download links. It will be in the description. I also have a couple of more information stuff in the Tumblr post that I think I've gone over in the video but might have gotten lost, you know, in translation somewhere amongst all my rambling. But yeah, I also have links for both of the mods that I mentioned. So the ones by Zerbu, I have those linked. I also have, like I said, the instructions on how to install a save file, as well as a link to Ocean's video with, you know, instructions like in video format if you guys would prefer that. But yeah, also let me know, like I said, if you want to see me do a how to install saves tutorial, or how to install mods or CC tutorial. I would probably like to look into something like that in the new year. So yeah, let me know if that's something you'd like to see. And then also let me know which worlds you think I should focus on for the next version of my save. So I have no idea when this next version will be out. I'm not going to make any promises, but I am still obviously still working on it, and I have a bunch of other stuff already, like you guys saw, done for it. But I kind of want to wait until I have maybe like 2 more worlds completely set up before I release the next version. Otherwise, I feel like it would just be too many versions like all at once, because, you know, if I were to finish a smaller world like Magnolia Promenade, for example, next, I only have 1 lot left to do in that world. So if I were to finish that in like a week from now, I don't want to release another version of the save file in a week or like in a month. So I kind of want to wait until we have like significant progress so that I can show you. So yeah, let me know your like top 2 worlds for what you would like to see me complete next. So any of the worlds, like destination worlds, residential worlds, anything like that, let me know down in the comments. And also, should have mentioned this right at the start, but I do own all of the packs. So my idea with the save file was to integrate all of the packs together, to kind of show you what's possible if you use different gameplay aspects and different packs and different features together to make like have them all be like one part of a whole type thing. So I did use every single pack in this. I didn't pack restrict myself anywhere or with anything. So if you don't own all of the packs, I honestly don't know what would happen to your game. I don't know what would happen if, for example, you don't own vampires and I have a lot of vampire sims in my save. Obviously, you will be missing like the whole vampire world and probably every single family that lives there. But I also have vampire sims connected to other households, so like family members, romantic interests, stuff like that. So I don't know what would happen if you open the save file without all of the packs. If there's small things like stuff packs, for example, stuff packs don't add big gameplay stuff like, you know, full-on life states. They just add stuff. So if you were missing a couple of stuff packs or a couple of kits, or, you know, game packs or even expansion packs that don't add big gameplay stuff, then you'll obviously just be missing a couple of items or, you know, stuff like that. But otherwise, honestly, I have no idea, which is why at the top of the install instructions I put, you know, back up your save files. Before you download a save file from anyone on the internet, not just mine, but from anyone, back up your save files to someplace safe. so that if you have to install your game, or if worst comes to worst, like your save files get broken or whatever, then you have a backup. So that's just something to keep in mind. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Sorry it has been such a long video. But yeah, feel free to let me know all of your comments, suggestions for worlds we should be looking at next to complete. All of that stuff down in the comment section. Like I said, I hope you guys are all having a great last day of 2022. Thank goodness this year is over and we can start looking forward to next year. And I have so many things planned. I'm so excited for next year. But happy new year, and yeah, I hope you guys have an amazing 2023, and I'll talk to you guys all in my next video, which will be next year. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this, like I said, and yeah, bye everyone.